know how difficult it can be to lose fat. It can be really, really challenging, but the most frustrating thing is when you seem to be doing everything right and you're not seeing any progress at all. You know, as far as you can tell, your diet is on point, your exercise is fantastic, but your body is just not changing, or it changed a ton initially and you've just plateaued and can't make any more changes. That's just the worst feeling ever. But the good news is that even if you aren't seeing change or you've plateaued and can't break through your plateau, that doesn't mean you're doomed to not be able to lose any more fat and not be able to achieve your dream body. All it means is you're probably just making a little mistake somewhere that you can fix, and then you'll start seeing progress again. I recently made a video all about my top 10 tips to lose fat faster, so you can click up there or down in the description to check that video out. But today I wanted to take you through the top 7 mistakes that people make when they're trying to lose fat. The first big mistake, and this is one I see all the time, is people trying to lose fat too fast. Losing fat really fast might help you potentially get closer to your goals faster, but in the long run, it's not gonna help you achieve your goals and sustain them long term. I like to put this in the context of your entire life. So let's say you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, you know, you have between 40 and 60-ish years left to live. That's a long time. Now imagine if you took one of those years, 1 year out of like 40 to 60 years, and focus that 1 year on losing the fat that you want to lose, on achieving your ideal body. Not within a month of that year, but just that entire year. And then you get to keep that fat loss, keep that ideal body for the rest of those 40 to 60 years. For the rest of those years, you don't feel pressure to go on an extreme diet right before a vacation. You don't feel like you're going to go to some family reunion and feel super embarrassed because you regained all the weight that you lost. You can confidently walk in to your high school reunion and be like, heck yeah, look at me, I'm looking great. And you don't have to worry about your body because you've set it up long term. And you're at that point where you're just chilling. Yeah, maybe you aren't gonna have your ideal body for your best friend's wedding in 3 months, but for all of the other weddings that you ever plan on going to, you're not gonna have to like go on a juice cleanse to fit in the dress that you want to. You're just gonna have the dress and put on the dress and show up to the wedding and just feel confident as heck and feel like a superhero, and you're gonna have to worry about losing fat. How great does that sound? That sounds amazing. So that's where option 1, the slower approach to fat loss, will get you. But the mistake that everyone's making, the trying to lose fat too fast, will kind of put you in the complete opposite position. Maybe you do manage to drop those 40 pounds for your best friend's wedding in 3 months. You show up looking great. You're a little bit lightheaded because you've been starving yourself for a while, but hey, the pictures of you look amazing. Within the next 2 months, you gain all that weight back, plus a little bit more. Oh look, you have another event coming up. Now you have to starve yourself again to get back to the point where you're happy with your body. And you just keep going in this cycle and it keeps getting worse and worse. You just get sucked into this endless like restriction and then regaining cycle, and it's just miserable because every time you have to put in more and more effort. Wow, I did not expect to rant this much this early on in this video. That was a little bit of an extreme example, but that is kind of the principle that I want to convey, that if you try to lose fat super fast, you're often making unsustainable changes, which leads to unsustainable results. The changes that you're going to have to implement to lose fat really fast, whether it be cutting your calories super low, or going to the gym way more than you can actually handle, or just doing crazy other restrictive diets or whatever, are things that generally you aren't going to be able to stick to long term. So they're unsustainable changes. And as soon as you stop doing them, then you lose all of your progress and you're going to regain the weight, end up right where you were before. So your results are unsustainable as well. A lot of people result to just cutting their calories super low, which does work short term very quickly, but your body is a homeostasis machine. If you start losing weight really rapidly, it's gonna respond in a way that makes you want to do things that are going to make you gain weight. So it's going to massively upregulate your hunger, which is probably eventually going to result in a lot of binging that causes you to regain the fat. It's also going to downregulate the amount that you move around throughout the day. So a lot of the times, you know, you're sitting at your desk, you do little movements, you fidget a little bit, your body will downregulate those little movements in an effort to conserve more calories calories so that you can gain some of that weight back. And then along these lines, a lot of people who want to lose fat really quickly are often very impatient when it comes to implementing whatever fat loss program that they're on. And if they don't see results within like 2 weeks, they quit. They don't give the program enough time to actually be effective. Pro tip, if you're seeing extreme change in like 2 weeks, that's probably a bad sign. It's a sign that what you're doing is not going to be a sustainable long-term change that's actually gonna stick with your body. You don't end up 30 plus pounds overweight in 2 weeks. That's something that takes months and years for that extra fat to accumulate. So you can't expect to lose it all over the course of 2 weeks. Another big mistake that I see people making is trying to overhaul their entire lives as soon as they commit to making change. Now, don't get me wrong, I think it's awesome if you're that enthusiastic and that excited about switching over to a healthy lifestyle that you want to do it all at once, but I really don't recommend doing it that way. The first few days, it might not be that difficult because you're really excited and you're really motivated, but really quickly, it can become extraordinarily overwhelming and difficult to maintain these changes because you haven't had time to develop them as real habits. Making a ton of sudden changes, even if they're healthy, can also come with a lot of kind of negative symptoms and drawbacks that'll make it really difficult to push through all of it at the same time. For example, even if you change your diet from an okay-ish diet to a very healthy, clean diet, that might disrupt your digestion a bit. You might not be used to the fiber, or you may introduce a bunch of new foods that your body just isn't used to. And so you might get a little bit of like negative digestive symptoms and not feel great. It could impact your energy. If you switch to a new exercise routine, you're probably gonna be sore within the first few days, and if you push yourself super hard, you're gonna feel like death for a little bit. And so trying to push through all of this at once is just like trying to move a brick wall. What I recommend instead is making slow, steady, sustainable changes so that you can form healthy habits, take the time to really internalize each change, get used to it before you add on something new. And this is where not falling into mistake number one can also make a huge difference, because doing it like this does take time. But the great thing about it is that if each week or every other week you are making one solid concrete change, you're gonna start to also notice slow, sustainable, steady progress. If you throw everything at yourself at once, you're probably gonna plateau in like a few weeks, maybe a few months, and then you're not gonna have anything left to do because you've done like everything. But if every week or every other week you're making one small change, you're gonna continue to see progress, and you can always just add a little more, tweak a little thing, and just keep progressing. Episode 1 of my Fitness Starter Kit series is all about this, and it goes through lists of examples of different small changes you can make and really how to implement this as a strategy to stop yo-yo dieting and make sustainable change that is more permanent. So I highly recommend you go check that video out, especially if you're someone who has really been stuck with fat loss for a while. The next mistake that I see people making is following some fad diet and expecting it to be like a magic weight loss pill. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of fad diets do have a lot of merit and have helped a lot of people, but just because keto worked amazingly for your best friend or your favorite celebrity went vegan and was able to drop 20 pounds doesn't mean that either of those diets are going to be optimal for your body. The key to sustainable fat loss that will be permanent is to find the diet and way of eating that works best for your body. For some people, keto does work amazingly well, especially people who have insulin resistance issues or have never been able to fully feel satiated or in control of what they're eating. Keto can be an amazing tool. For a lot of people, vegan can also be an amazing diet. Plant-based can also be an amazing diet to follow. Maybe your body would respond a lot better to something like paleo or intermittent fasting, or more than likely, it's gonna be some combination of all of these that doesn't fit into one of these preconceived boxes that have these solid rules. You're probably gonna need to overlap some boxes and build your own box. This applies to macros as well. I get so many DMs from people saying, Marissa, I wanna lose fat. Should I go low carb? And I'm just like, well, how do you feel when you go low carb? Do you feel good, or do you feel super lethargic and like you want to binge on everything? Because whether or not a macro ratio is going to work to help you lose fat is going to depend entirely on how your body responds to it. Do we see a theme here? And if you think you're making this mistake, I have 2 videos that I highly recommend you check out. First is how to find the perfect diet for your body, and the second is all about the macro ratio that is going to work best for you to help you achieve your goals. So again, I'll link them up there and down in the description to check out. The next mistake that is extraordinarily prevalent is treating all calories equally. Now this is a big one. This is a bit of a controversial one. A lot of the die-hard IFYM people will tell you can just as effectively lose fat getting all your carbs from ice cream as you can from getting your carbs from whole, unprocessed vegetables. And in the short term, yes, that is 100% correct. You can lose fat eating just donuts if you want to. But 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, you have literally zero evidence, and I doubt you can make a coherent argument to show me that if you get all of your calories from ice cream versus whole unprocessed foods, that there's not going to be a difference in those 2 people. It is undeniable that different foods send different signals to the body and react in the body in completely different ways. A bunch of carbs from broccoli versus a bunch of carbs from ice cream are not going to be processed in the body in the same way. Ice cream and other sugary processed foods are going to spike your insulin to a exponentially bigger level, and insulin is the storage hormone. It sends a signal to your body to store fat. So the more you're spiking insulin and the bigger spikes you get, the more body fat you're going to be storing. So I highly recommend trying to get as much of your nutrition as possible from whole, unprocessed foods. Now, this doesn't mean you have to get rid of the ice cream. It doesn't mean you have to get rid of the pizza. I had pizza last night. It doesn't mean you have to get rid of the donuts or the cake. It just means that these should not be the focus of your diet. They're probably not something you should be having every single day. They should be something that, you can reach for once in a while, but are not something that you're fitting into your macros just because it fits. Short term, you're gonna be able to lose fat eating whatever the heck you want. Long term, if you wanna make it easier on yourself to keep the fat off, I recommend not binging on the junk food all day, every day. Mistake number 5 is letting one little slip up ruin all of your progress. I see this happen so frequently. People get on their health kick, they start going to the gym, they start eating healthy, they're doing great, they're doing amazing, they feel great, they're making good progress, and then a donut comes along. Or they have a hard day at the office and so they don't go to the gym. And then all of a sudden something switches in their brain and they go, I ruined everything. I can't keep doing this. It was all for nothing because I ate the donut or I didn't go to the gym this one day. I'm gonna lose all of my progress. Why even bother continue trying? But this is just not true at all. One little slip up or cheat or missing the gym session is not going to really have any impact on you at all. Your body works on averages over weeks and months. So if you have a month of good effort and then you have a day where you eat an extra 500, 1,000 calories, your body's not gonna be like, oh well, time to gain 10 pounds of fat back because we had one day where we ate extra food. No, it's gonna know that you are in this pattern and are going to continue this pattern and is probably gonna upregulate your metabolism to burn through those calories faster because it knows what to expect and it knows this is a little out of the ordinary and it wants to bring you back to homeostasis. Because as I said, your body is a homeostasis machine. Now the trick here is to learn how to not feel guilty when you do go off of your plan. And this does take a little bit of time to learn and understand and become self-aware enough to realize when this is happening. For a lot of people, it is the guilt of not doing what they were supposed to do that drives them to completely fall off the wagon and go do a bunch of other things that they're not supposed to do. But if you can prevent that guilt from happening in the first place, you can just pick yourself right back up the next day, pretend like it didn't happen, and just keep on going with your life, keep living your healthy lifestyle, and you won't have ruined literally anything. So I encourage you to try to be self-aware when you do have little slip-ups. Look at how it makes you feel, analyze your thoughts and feelings surrounding it before you react, and figure out what the appropriate reaction should be before you continue. With some amount of logic, you can realize that just because you had 4 bites of ice cream doesn't mean that eating the rest of the ice cream container is the next best step. Mistake number 6 is something that I literally just made a video about, so I will try to keep this short and sweet, and that is relying on cardio for fat loss and not paying any attention to your lean mass. I'll link that video up there and down there, but the TLDR version is that cardio is not the most ideal way to lose body fat because of the metabolic adaptation process that occurs. Essentially, when you start incorporating cardio regularly, it slowly slows down your metabolism, so you end up in less and less of a deficit, even if you're eating the same amount and exercising the same amount. Whereas if you focus on building up your lean mass through heavy resistance training, this speeds up your metabolism, and so you can even eat more and continue to lose weight. Muscle costs the body a lot of calories to build and maintain, so if you're focusing on building muscle, your body is going to turn into a calorie burning machine. I actually did create a downloadable PDF for you guys to be your kind of go-to place for all of my information on cardio, so I will link that down in the description. It goes through why I don't think cardio is optimal for fat loss, when you should apply cardio for health, when cardio is getting in your way, why I'm so passionate about getting this message out there about cardio, etc. So definitely go click the link in the description to download that if you want to learn more about my thoughts and feelings about the treadmill and the elliptical. And the final big mistake that I want to share with you today is people thinking that supplements are going to like burn all the fat for them and do all of the work for them. Fat burners are not going to burn any noticeable or significant amount of fat. Things like sweet sweat, it makes you sweat. So you just drop a ton of water weight, then as soon as you drink water, you gain it all back again. Most of these supplements that claim to aid in fat loss are really only even potentially effective due to one main ingredient, and that is caffeine. And this is because caffeine is a stimulant, so it can actually give you a boost in the gym, which would help you get a better workout, which will in turn help you burn more fat. But you could just drink a cup of coffee instead. Also, supplements with stimulants like caffeine can make the claim that they're burning body fat because stimulants do increase your heart rate a little bit. Even if your heart beats like 5 more times per day, it probably beats, I don't know, like 100,000, couple 100,000 times a day. If it beats 5 extra times a day because the stimulant increased your heart rate by this much, they can claim that it's burning fat because it costs your body more energy to pump your heart more. When it comes to like the pyramid of fat loss, where the base is like your nutrition and your exercise and your sleep and your stress, it's the little tippy top. It's about as big as a grain of sand. That's supplements. That's how little impact they're gonna have. They're not gonna help you that much, especially if the rest of the pyramid is not built solidly. If you have the option between, you know, the effect of a grain of sand and the effect of an entire pyramid minus a grain of sand, you're gonna get a lot more benefit from the pyramid than the grain of sand. So until your nutrition, your exercise plan, your sleep, and your stress are all basically as good as you can get them, I don't really recommend investing in any supplement because it's not going to make nearly as much difference as focusing on those 4 things will. I personally kind of love playing around with supplements just because I like experimenting on my body, but when I take them, I'm in no way thinking like, this is gonna help me burn 5 pounds of fat, or this is gonna help me build all the muscle, except for creatine. Creatine is like the most studied, most safe, effective supplement that you're ever gonna find. I'll link an article down there about all the different amazing effects of creatine, but the big ones are it massively helps with muscle building. It can also improve cognitive function and a whole bunch of other great things. So if there's one supplement that I definitely recommend, it is creatine. Also, if you know you're really struggling to get your protein in, if you cannot possibly get it in with whole and processed foods, then a good quality protein powder could also be useful. I'll link my favorite one down in the description as well, but there is no supplement that is going to do the hard work for you. You have to do that hard work and put in the effort. And those are the top 7 mistakes that I see people making when they're trying to lose fat. Hopefully this all made sense and you guys enjoyed the video. If you do have any questions about anything that I talked about, I will link all of the relevant videos down in the description below so you can check those out. But also feel free to leave your questions down in the comments, and if you are struggling with fat loss or have struggled with fat loss in the past, let me know down in the comments what you personally are struggling with the most and what mistakes you think you might be making or may have made in the past. In the meantime, if you did like this video, please do give it a big thumbs up because it really does support me and my channel, and I really appreciate it, and it lets me know that you want to see more of this content. In the meantime, if you want to check out more of my videos, I'll link some over here. You can also hit that subscribe button down there to see more videos from me, and hit that notification button so you get notified about the videos. Feel free to share this video with your friends, your family, and your fat loss buddies, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.